Only in Kentucky can one county move a river underneath a mountain to save a city from drowning, and be the site of a labor war so violent they had to call in the National Guard to stop the shootouts. Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm learning a little bit more about Kentucky, one county at a time, all 120 of them. And today, I'm learning about Harlan County. If you haven't already, I hope you check out the other counties I've covered. They're all listed in the playlist on my profile. If I haven't covered yours yet, I'll get to it soon. I'm going in mostly alphabetical order. As always, if I miss something, feel free to correct me in the comments so we can all learn together. The story of Harlan County is a story of extreme heights and deep valleys, both geographically and emotionally. This land has supported human life for thousands of years. In 1923, an Indian cliff dwelling was discovered near Bletsoe, proving that successive cultures used these mountains as residencies and burial sites long before any European settlers arrived. If you want to see what this land looked like to those first inhabitants, you have to visit the Blanton Forest State Nature Preserve. It's the largest old-growth forest in Kentucky, and we are talking about a massive tract of land with trees that were standing long before the state of Kentucky was even a thought on a map. It's a biological time machine that shows the Appalachians exactly as they were before the world came for their timber and coal. The first permanent white settlement was established in 1796 by Samuel and Chloe Howard. When they arrived, they found a massive Indian mound, and so the community that grew there was originally known as Mount Pleasant. But the Howards weren't the only ones looking for a fresh start in the mountains. From the late 1700s through the mid-1800s, these ridges were settled by families of mixed African, European, and Native American descent. Often called Melungeons, these free people of color found a different kind of independence in the isolation of the high ridges, creating a multiracial heritage that is still a core part of Harlan's DNA today. When the county was officially formed in 1819, it was named for Silas Harlan. Silas Harlan was a pioneer legend. He built a log stockade near Danville, and he was one of the spies for General George Rogers Clark during the Illinois campaign. Clark once said that Silas was one of the bravest soldiers that ever fought by his side. Silas was killed at the Battle of Blue Licks in 1782, and decades later, the state carved this county out of Knox County to honor him. Even though the county was Harlan, the town was still officially Mount Pleasant. That name caused endless confusion because another Mount Pleasant already existed in Kentucky. So when a post office was established in 1828, they had to call it the Harlan Courthouse instead. Then came the Civil War, which was particularly dark in the mountains. Because of its location near the Virginia border, it was a major passageway for both armies. In 1863, Confederate raiders under General Humphrey Marshall occupied the town of Harlan. During the occupation, the local postmaster actually renamed the community Spurlock after himself. In October of that same year, Confederate forces burned the courthouse to the ground, and this wasn't a random act of violence, it was a reprisal for the Union's destruction of a courthouse in Lee County, Virginia. The town finally officially changed its name to Harlan in 1912. That change happened just 1 year after the Louisville and Nashville Railroad arrived. Before the railroads, these mountains were completely isolated, way more than they are now. And after 1911, the gold rush of coal was on. In 1913, a local man named William Creech Jr. donated part of the land Pine Mountain Settlement School. It was a massive experiment in rural social work and education designed to uplift mountain children while protecting the traditional music and crafts of Appalachia. It is now a National Historic Landmark and still stands as a beacon of cultural preservation. But the industrial boom was moving even faster. In 1917, U.S. Steel created Lynch. It was a company town, and at its peak, it was the largest company-owned town in the state with 10,000 residents. It had its own hospital, a movie theater, and the first fully electrified coal mine in the country. Just down the road, International Harvester built Benham. These towns were true melting pots because of the demand for labor was so high, coal companies recruited immigrants from Europe and black families from the Deep South. So this created a unique cultural pocket in the mountains. The Eastern Kentucky Social Club was founded here to preserve the history of the black community in Lynch and Benham. But that industrial growth came with a high price. Beyond the coal mines, Harlan has some of the most bizarre legal history in the state. In 1924, a man named Condi Dabney was convicted of murdering a person whose body was supposedly found in a local mine. Dabney was sent to prison only for the murdered person to walk back into town, alive and well, a year later. It remains one of the most famous cases of convicting the innocent in American law. During the Great Depression, the demand for coal plummeted, and the Harlan County War began. This was a decade of violent labor strife between mine owners and the United Mine Workers of America. It reached a breaking point on May 5, 1931, at the Battle of Evarts, where a shootout between miners and company guards left 4 people dead. The governor had no choice but to call in the National Guard to restore order. This era gave us one of the most famous protest songs in American history. Florence Reese, the wife of a union organizer, wrote "Which Side Are You On" in 1931 after sheriff's deputies, led by J.H. Blair, ransacked her home while her children were still inside. That song has since been covered by everyone from Pete Seeger to the Dropkick Murphys. The labor drama didn't end in the 30s. In the 1970s, the Brookside strike brought the world's eyes back to Harlan. A young filmmaker named Barbara Koppel documented the year-long struggle, and her film, Harlan County, USA, won the Academy Award for Best Documentary in 1977. That same year, a massive flood devastated the city of Harlan. To prevent that from ever happening again, the government pulled off a wild feat of engineering. In 1989, they literally bored 2 massive tunnels through Ivy Hill to divert the Clover Fork River under a mountain so it would stop drowning the downtown area. The spirit of resistance stayed alive into the modern era. Just a few years ago, in 2019, miners from Black Jewel LLC were fired without their back pay after the company declared bankruptcy. Those miners occupied the railroad tracks in Cumberland for 2 months, physically preventing a coal train from leaving the county until they got what they were owed. If you love the outdoors, Harlan is pretty much the peak of Kentucky. Literally, Black Mountain stands at 4,145 feet. It is the highest point in the Commonwealth. The city of Lynch is actually the highest incorporated city in the state, and the county is the black bear capital of Kentucky. Every year, Cumberland hosts the Black Bear Festival to celebrate the growing population of bears that roam the ridges of Kingdom Come State Park. Speaking of Kingdom Come, the park is named after the novel The Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come by John Fox Jr., who lived just across the line in Virginia but spent much of his time in the mountains there of Kentucky. The park features incredible rock formations like Raven Rock and Log Rock, and it offers views that make people realize why folks have fought so hard for that land. If you've ever watched the FX drama Justified, one of my favorite shows actually, you know the name of this county. Even though the show was filmed in California and Pennsylvania, the spirit of Raylan Givens and the rivalry between the law and the hills is rooted in that show. Also, if you're a longtime Kentucky basketball fan, you know Kaywood Letford, the voice of the Wildcats. He's a Harlan native. To many Kentuckians, the sound of his voice is the sound of the state. Not just protest songs, but music is the heartbeat of this county. From Daryl Scott's haunting You'll Never Leave Harlan Alive to Tyler Childers' Harlan Road, the grit and beauty of this place has inspired generations of songwriters. And it's not just country and folk. Jordan Smith, the winner of season 9 of The Voice, is a Harlan native, as is singer and TV personality Nick Lachey. Every June, Harlan hosts the Poke Salad Festival. It's a celebration of a wild mountain green that is to be boiled multiple times to remove its toxins. It's an acquired taste, but it's a staple of the Appalachian spirit. You can even grab a meal at the Portal in downtown Harlan, a restaurant located in an old commissary building right where a massive coal portal used to be. So, that's Harlan County. What'd I get wrong this time?